All right, thanks for meeting with me, Mr. Beard.
For sure.
I made a list of potential topics that my AP Human Geography students will be able to pull from to do an end of the year choice project after the test. And I have a lot of really good topics that kind of connect to the themes over the year. But my hope right now is to brainstorm some guiding questions or some framework that a variety of topics could kind of fit into, so they have some sort of beginning point for their documentary or their newscast, and then matching up a couple Cog skills that would be effective for all the topics.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right.
Have you shared this?
Yeah, I just shared it with you if you want to open it. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. All right. So kind of scrolling through the list, you can kind of look. Yeah. Some of the topics are civil rights, migration, politics, ethnicities, religion, urban patterns, population and health, industry and manufacturing, culture, food and agriculture, and languages. So pretty connected, but also different types of topics. And so looking at some of these.
Do you think culture should exist as a separate topic, or because it's sort of been a theme, you know, this idea of.
The reason I had culture as a separate topic is just that's how the course is outlined. Pop and folk culture are their own separate topics. So they could even pick like a certain aspect of pop culture or a certain type of folk culture and do like a deep dive on that.
Right.
I just happened to pick something kind of random. I picked diffusion of cricket.
Sure.
Because the kids like sports, but I wanted to kind of expose them to a sport they probably don't know much about.
Okay.
And it kind of dips into colonialism.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked cricket.
That's good. So it could almost be culture and politics.
Yeah,
a little bit. You
lots
could
of them
sort
overlap.
Push them a certain direction.
Yeah. So thinking about some guiding questions that would work for any of these topics, I guess is my first kind of debate with myself.
Well, and I guess that was where my question was coming from, because it almost seems like culture, pop or folk, are almost overriding concepts for all of these, do you think?
I think lots of them, right? Like even you could connect, you know, globalization and
Sure.
factories in developing countries
Okay,
to culture.
So globalization isn't a topic. So would you say globalization would be like
That's like a theme,
Okay.
I would say, kind of.
Okay. So maybe a guiding questions, a couple around the theme of globalization.
Okay.
So maybe more or less like how does your topic?
I think more than like globalization, I hesitate to use that word because look at this last one, like homelessness in Denver. To me, it's almost like
Sure.
it's more of a question of like interconnectedness rather than just pure globalization.
Yeah.
Like how does the homelessness problem in Denver affect Aurora or affect other places nearby?
So impact is a theme for sure. You know, it's almost like what impact might the topic have on
the global or local community?
Ooh, there we go. And maybe how do we want to get specific with impact? I wonder if, because that's broad, right?
So it would almost be like environmental.
Ooh, there we go. You could almost
Political, social,
there we
or economic.
go. And that all fits under. Would cultural impact be relevant in this level, or is culture?
I would kind of throw that into social. The reason I picked this is because in the beginning of the year I kind of introduced them to ESPN, which is environmental, social, political.
Okay. Nice way to keep that structure there.
Some of the guiding questions I kind of use in my class are above my board, which is what is where, why there, and why care. I almost feel like we could try to use those
Oh yeah.
somehow.
Let's write that down. What is there?
What is where, why there, and why care? the what is the impact is almost like the why care part.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So maybe let's think about why there. What's a there?
It's almost like where is this taking place? Why
Why is it specific to that region? Is there something about that region, geographically or culturally?
Right. So like if they pick like Zika virus,
Sure.
it's like, well, yeah, it's in these places in South
Here's-
America, and this is
here's
why,
yeah.
and this is why you should care about it.
Nice.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. Is why you should care about it implicit here, or do we need to directly say that? Because I like what you just added. Why should we care about it? I don't know if that's even implicit with this yet. It could be like a third question.
Yeah.
Which I guess
And
that
that's
goes
always like
back.
implicit in documentaries anyways, right? They
Yeah.
better give you the why care, otherwise it's
Why you watch
not a
it.
great documentary.
Is that too much like impact? I mean, it's separate, I guess.
Impact is almost like the
Relate.
effect. I'm gonna say like, what is the effect?
I like that, yeah, because impact is so broad, and now we sort of split impact into two. How does it impact the group? What is the effect on the group?
This was my first one because I knew someone would pick it.
Right.
That's gonna be a good one.
I think all these are good. Do you have anything up here that's,
I almost want to get rid of some of the more historical ones and do more contemporary.
well, obviously, politics and, I mean, I don't know if ethnicities, what about the topics that are coming up in our current political?
I put Islamophobia in the United States. I thought that was probably a really good one. I
What
wonder if I
about
should.
stuff with the southern border with
Yeah.
Mexican immigration just from South American countries even. Does
I
that
kind of
s-
tried to
Oh,
hit
yeah,
that with the
okay.
unaccompanied Central American migrants, but it would almost be like a review of immigration policies 2016.
A topic that I focused on when I taught,
Candidates.
there was an immigration unit, and it was almost like the guiding questions were, what are the effects of and it's kind of like this one, the effects of the U.S. education system on students. And so you've got, migrant communities that,
And a good one I've done in the past is the ending of ethnic studies classes in Arizona. Gets you really fired up about that.
I don't know about.
So they you could take like a Latino American studies class and it would be like your U.S. history class.
Oh.
And they actually got rid of it because a lot of people in the Arizona legislature got really fired up about it and said,
There was no U.S. history then in the background.
well, I think the bigger problem is like this class is not, I don't remember exactly what the problem was, but they got rid of like the Mexican American classes,
Right.
which obviously, here.
Well, it was a weird, this unit I did there was these great documentaries we watched because you've got students that are in class for, maybe 3 months, and then their family moves to a, place down the road where, kind of following the migrant, circuit there. I mean,
Oh, that's interesting.
Francisco Jimenez, the circuit.
So let's do
And how they are behind a lot in education systems. There's ESL, but then, they're not doing it consistently and long enough to keep up with
yeah.
their classmates. The concept of the deferred action law that Obama passed.
I could do that.
Component of that where,
Yeah.
and actually there's a neat story of a DPS teacher. DPS was the first district to hire somebody
yeah.
who's a deferred action.
I saw that, graduate.
Yeah, that, he came here, it's like under 16, if you come under 16, you're not a citizen, but you're not gonna be deported, you have this kind of, it was interesting. We actually used that news story from 9 News as one of the resources in our Socratic seminar about that.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Do you think these questions kind of work for all these things?
Again. We do. And it's gonna point, and it's because of the topics, those questions will, I think, point each group or each person into very specific research and analysis on that topic.
I hope so.
And that's what's gonna, spread out and make them not seem all the same.
Yeah, I want them to feel different, right? That's why I have a lot of really sad topics. I need to pick a couple more uplifting ones.
Well, the world, what causes change more? What is
Yeah,
more
no, that's
impactful?
true.
I mean, totally.
That's true.
So what kind of product you were talking about was the documentary?
Yeah, and I actually ran that by Ryan, and he had a good little critique for me. He was like, what about a newscast as a second option? Because you would get the same type of thing.
Okay.
And so I'm totally down with that. So the product, no matter what, will be a video, whether
Does
they,
it have to be a video?
I guess if they wanted to do it live,
Wow, okay.
they could. I like the idea of a video. If they do it live, I'll probably videotape it, just to save it and be able to, for grading and for posterity.
Are there Cog skills that are specific to presentation that are gonna work here that, like, how you sort of
There are.
stay away from the writing ones? Because obviously, a research paper could answer all of these things,
Right.
but are there Cog skills you wanna pick that obviously force them out of that potential research paper and into?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I actually want to hit the research paper skills again in
Okay.
case I didn't do so well, so that they have a chance to up their grade in that particular skill again.
Well, and that's relevant for documentary newscast or live broadcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I think,
So let's look at all these skills.
yeah.
I like this front page because of all the definitions.
Oh, yeah, the first tab there.
Maybe development, like developing their ideas. I'm not sure. We can look at that.
Wow.
Selecting relevant sources I will definitely do because I'm not gonna research all 20 topics for all of them.
No, they're gonna have to select them, and then I think this synthesizing multiple resources,
Yeah,
because, man, they better have more than one, right?
yeah. And something I thought about doing as a step, because they haven't really had to find their own resources yet very much, like some of them do.
Oh,
So I've been thinking about maybe doing an annotated bibliography,
nice.
because if they don't have good sources, their documentary will not be super great. So I was thinking almost, instead of doing, well, I don't know, maybe selecting and contextualizing as like the skills for the annotated bibliography.
Yeah, totally.
Like, this is why this isn't appropriate.
Right, so that would be like a first step, annotated bib, and you grade 2 of these Cog skills under using resources.
Yeah,
We've given them the questions, so inquiry maybe not,
yeah.
I mean, other than hypothesizing. Identifying patterns and relationships.
That could definitely be, we've hit that one a lot all year with our map work.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, no, there's a lot more. The making connections and inferences one is pretty good.
Is there one that you feel like you haven't hit well, and you want to?
No, I think I've hit probably the most cog skills. That's why I kind of wanted to do repeats of ones.
Sure.
Um,
Then I guess what ones do you think students did the most poorly on last time?
That's a good question. They typically do very good in selection of evidence,
Okay,
less well on explanation of evidence.
okay. So maybe the selection of evidence is part of that annotated bibliography, but the explanation is
It's part of the
in
script.
the document, in the script. Does it require a written script be turned in?
I think I do want to require a written script,
Yeah.
even if it's like on note cards or whatever. I don't care what it looks like, but I do want them. I'm worried about just letting them have all these articles and then
Right,
getting in
just
front of
being
the
able to randomly
camera and just say
spew
stuff.
whatever.
I want
Good
it.
concern.
I want it to be organized in a way. I mean, even if it's just like an outline,
Right.
like this is the thing I want to say. This is how I start it. This is the evidence I'm going to use. That's fine, but I just need something to show that they know what they're going to say to the camera.
Well, and under this idea of development, you're gonna be able to assess them on development in that script.
Yeah.
And then also, just, even thinking literature a little bit on any good script, what makes it sometimes is those stage directions, the stuff that the performers or actors don't say, but is supposed to kind of be
Yeah,
underneath,
so like what are you showing on the screen, or
Yeah, how are you timing
what
this?
music is happening? or
Totally,
whatever.
and why, and how it connects, and so that's huge, gonna be huge on the explanation, I think.
Do you think explanation of evidence and development are super similar?
They are. I think development is more the sort of structure of their statement and sort of ideas and what they're saying, and the explanation of evidence is then how the different specific pieces of evidence are used to connect back to that structure. So maybe the development is kind of first, and then explanation, a strong explanation will support that development. But
So you think I
they're
could use
separate.
both?
Yeah. We could work together to sort of ascertain how we're gonna.
Like what is what?
Right, yeah, when we're scoring. And that's the neat thing about this rubric, I think, is the organic overlapping of Cog Skills and how one thing can be connected to multiple pieces.
I wonder if I would use organization, but then the multimedia ones are really good.
I feel like because you're forcing a video, you gotta have one of these.
I think I'll probably do multimedia in
Oral?
an oral presentation, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we did, no, actually we did just the written production
So
one.
cool, then we gotta get that one.
And then I always throw in style and language. I do it with everything,
Okay.
because they need it.
I think I don't know if we'd wanna add more. I think we're good on Cog Skills. There are 4, right? Which I think, having that, if you think there's too many, I think we could
I think this is actually okay, because they're all different
drop
steps.
to the development or explanation, because those are the closest, but I do think they're separate enough where you could assess them separately.
Yeah, they're all different, look. 2 for autobiography, 3 for the script, and 1 for the documentary. And that actually kind of makes sense, because I care most about their script, like how they put it all
'Cause
together.
that's the development and the explanation.
Yeah, second most about the sources they use.
Right?
And then I'm not a video teacher. As long as it works and it gets across their point and it adds to their ideas, then that's really what the video should do.
Sweet. It's cool, I'm kind of excited about it.
I know, you can come to our film
I
festival.
will be, yeah, I'll help, it's getting them good at possibly even some of the tools that are in the computers as far as incorporating multiple videos from other sources into a playlist.
Yeah.
Even possibly doing some screen capture of stuff they're showing, like if there's a chart or data, do they know how to talk about it while the documentary is only showing the chart and possibly showing a mouse moving around and sort of clicking to different tabs on the chart to show process over time or something like that?
I have, like in their research paper and in their last presentation, I did require a chart or graph or a map. So maybe I could do that, like say you have to have a
Nice.
geographic visual,
Nice.
whatever it may be.
That would be cool. That would, chart, graph, map, anything. And then if they want to get really fancy, a Mac has it built in, but there's also a cool program called Jing. You know about Jing?
No, I don't know about Jing.
Jing is cool because it's free and it's like,
A little screencast?
yeah, it's screen capture or video capture.
Oh, cool.
It's a tad clunky and it's a separate program, but if they don't have a Mac, it works great. So you could do capture. Let's say we're just going to talk about the browser there. So I've got that open, and once you're there, from here you could either just save it as an image, or you can capture a video, and it's just a timer starts, and you're going to watch the mouse. And I just know that the Mac has a built-in one that can incorporate the microphone. I don't know if this one incorporates
Okay,
voiceover.
cool. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only 6 class days to do it, which sounds really short.
So, I think scaffolded steps and deadlines are gonna be important. Like, this part's due at this date, this part's due here. Are they gonna get a lot of class time to work on it?
All 6
Okay.
class periods, because the AP test is over, so they're kind of free, which is why I wanted to do this. So it'll be 3 days this week, 3 days that week, and then do the film festival the last day. They have school with me.
So you think like 2 days to research,
Ross.
Would that be?
And that's Mr. Beard,
Hello.
coordinator, but he's here 2 days out of the week.
Awesome.
And so in here we do social studies. And we have AP Human Geography and
2 days.
Just geography and geography. AP Human Geography,
research.
we're working on notes
Would
for.
that give
Exit ticket would be like annotated bib.
We work
Right.
at a big room scene.
Would that give you three? Do they know enough about that, or are you gonna need to do a little mini lesson on?
I'll have to do a little mini lesson on it, but I think they'll actually probably catch on to it real quick. I'm not gonna do like a really intense one. Probably say like, you know, you
Like
need,
a
you need
three-sentence
three sources
annotation?
and just, yeah.
Per source, you know, like.
Just a tiny little,
What
what
it
is the source,
how it's
why is it
organized,
credible?
How's it relevant?
Yeah. Just super, super guided questions, super short.
The way I always did a good annotated bib, you have like, one is what is the source, two is how is it organized, and so is this like, is it a news article, or is it,
Oh, like what is the,
you know, anthology that's listed alphabetically, or is it some sort of a history book that goes chronologically? That's important, I think, in discussing why that source. Then finally is, how is it relevant to the topic? And so one sentence for each of those three. Is
I
it
wanna
short
just-
enough annotation, but not?
I probably instead of the organization, cause they're
Mhm.
mostly, it's not like we're going to the library, right?
Right,
I'll probably ask why is the source credible
perfect.
instead of
That works too.
organization.
But I think that specific of an organization for their annotated bib is gonna
Totally.
be what they need, otherwise they're gonna be like, oh, this is a nice book about whatever. But how does it help you?
What's the source, why is it credible, how's it relevant to your topic?
Are you gonna have like a required number of sources here that differs from the required number by the end? So like your annotated bib should be 5 sources,
But maybe you have 7, I don't know.
or usually the annotated bib is more, like this is 7, and
Yeah.
you gotta use 5 in the actual product. So to
Mm.
kind of push the idea that sometimes when you research, there's sources that
You don't end up using, and
you
that's
don't
fine.
use, and it's fine. But you gotta get credit at the beginning for looking at it in the first place, because it took you time, but then you end up not using it. And that's why this is
Yeah.
such an important question, because sometimes they decide in that annotation.
Like,
that
it's actually not as great as I
really
thought.
relevant. I'm not gonna use this source.
I'm gonna say 7 sources, use 5. 2 days to research, and they're doing it in teams.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna cap the teams at 4 people, so that seems pretty doable with 4
3 or
students.
4 classes to do that? Is that enough class periods?
I think
How many does that give you?
I can do 3, but then that's half of the time,
Well, that's why I was saying 2 on research, and then you wanna give them more on
the script.
the script, and that way, if some people slacked and they still need to do a little research, they can push into that script day. Because how many days did you say are left?
6 days, so I was kinda thinking 2 days research, 2
You're gonna
days
have to-
script, 2 days video.
To present for 2 days.
Well, they can
Oh.
present on this last day,
They
because
can
I
get 'em
have,
all in
Mhm.
one day?
I think so, because I have only AP students on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty sure they can show all their videos. I don't think their videos are even more than like 5 to 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
That's a lengthy video.
that's crazy long, yeah, 2 to 3 might be.
Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes, you think is more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
Like
an
3 to
exemplar and
5,
see.
Like 3 to 5. 3 to 5 is good. 5 to 7 is low. I think that's good.
3 to 5 minute videos, yeah. 2 days for the script, 2 days arrange your video. Cause the way the video works anyways, is they just have to use images from the internet. And so that works
Can they use
really
video?
easy. They can also drop in video,
Right.
yeah,
they gotta
but
be-
there's just so few videos without voice. And they have to put their voice.
Right.
I don't care where they get their images from, really, as long as the only people talking are them. They can't be like, oh, I found this amazing YouTube video
Here.
about, the Rwandan genocide, you're welcome, I found it for you.
Here's the script that I copied down after listening to it.
Exactly.
Have you ever heard of Powtoon?
No, I don't know that.
Powtoon is like they can make little cartoons. And the computer will use the mic to capture their own voiceover of the little cartoons.
Cool.
And they're often used.
How do they make the
as-
cartoons?
Maybe find it up here.
Okay.
See it when you go to
I just wanna show you something on the video. I was playing with it for my honors project, and it's crazy intuitive.
It's called Free free business presentation software.
So you can have a caption on any of your videos, which is really sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
And then if you have one image that you really, really like that you want the audience to see for a long time, you can make it big. You make the image last for longer,
Oh, wow. Look at
like
that.
more seconds, and you can add media and stuff. So
That's really cool.
this is what I started making of the Syrian refugee crisis, because that's what my honors kids are mostly doing their videos on.
Okay.
You can see that, but yeah, you can make a picture last as long as you want to.
I like that. It makes it, it's really,
It makes it easier than
it's
instead of
smooth
finding
and
a
easy.
1,000
Yeah,
images.
having to do it so much.
So 2 days to create the video.
So here's the.
What's it called again?
How to?
How to.
So this is somebody else that's put in the like voiceover over top of this, and these are the things from the site that you can like sort of add.
Okay, cool. Like little animated clip art people.
Yeah, right.
They could definitely do a POW channel.
See, there's like different themes. There's explainer videos. Oh, so this one could. Here's one showing data. It's just music, I guess. Talk, maybe not.
Okay, cool.
Maybe just like a demo using some of their pieces. But my son was doing one for our class, and
So fun.
I was listening to him sort of be this little narrator, and he was having to do it over and over again and restart it because he couldn't hear it right.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
For groups, do you think anywhere from a pair to 4 people?
Yeah, I wouldn't go
That's
above
good.
4.
Yeah, the men gets pretty
Because
rambunctious.
see, they can split this up great, because if they're smart, you know, on their research day, they'll be like, you find 2, you find 2, you find 2, and then
Yeah, and then
you
it's
only gotta
done.
find 2, and their research is done. They could almost gather sources one day, work to explain them a little bit, and see how they connect the next, so that they're getting the most out of that script writing day. That's gonna be the biggest work piece, which is good, because that's where most of the rubric pieces are.
I almost want to just say like 1 day research, 3
Right.
days script.
Right. And you know, if they don't get all their research done in that first day, then you know, there's their
And then homework, yeah. You're welcome.
Use your time well.
I don't think there's always like a kid who wants to work alone. I don't think I want anyone to work alone on this. I don't see it being successful in the
No,
time
they
they have.
need to collaborate on the ideas and the questions, and it's almost like this potential, you know, Socratic discussion concept is going to happen in each group as they move to the script, and so, you know, they can't have all that on their own. That's huge. Like, they're going to discuss and answer that using their sources, and that should be evident in their script.
And then one last question. Traditionally, I've let my AP students select their own groups. It's gonna be the last 2 weeks of school.
What would they want? Think about
They
those
want-
AP students.
they
Would
want
they
to
rather
pick their
you
own
just
group.
assign them, or?
No, they wanna pick their own groups. They love when they can pick their own groups.
Think about your.
But inevitably,
your
it ends
most-
up with some videos being amazing and some being like,
Think about your kid who has the most independent work ethic. I guess maybe say, how's she gonna feel about being told she has to be here?
most of them are super high performing, so it almost doesn't matter. But there's a couple kids that I feel like are gonna be left out, which is why I'm concerned about not picking their groups for them.
Do you think you would, this is how I came around that sometimes, is like, in middle school anyway, do you think you know the groups they would pick? If
Pretty close.
So get that, like, you pick the groups, but get it as close to that as you can, so that they're all like,
Okay.
oh, you pick the groups, and they're all bummed, but then when they see them all, they're like.
So maybe I'll let them give me like a list of 5 people they love to work with
Yeah,
and
like
2
what she
people
did
that
in
they
Lit
really
Circles.
cannot.
Who
Okay.
you did, because I walked in that room the other day with Lit Circle groups, and I was like, whoa, what are you guys doing? Because they were in such different groups, but that's what came out of who they said they could and couldn't work with, as well as what book they wanted.
Yeah.
And these very different groups.
It
came
was
out.
definitely unique.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that group, just reading The Outsiders and Taylor's class, you got Taylor and Colton in the same group.
I know, yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah, and they don't.
And I'd be nervous to do that, but they did it to themselves, so.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Assign groups based on survey.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna cut video here. I think
No,
we've
yeah.
got what we need.
That
That's
was awesome.
Yeah, well done. Thanks.